These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Monday, January 29th. First time we've recorded a full pod in a while because, as you guys know, I overslept and we didn't have any time to record this weekend because Sam was in New York, so we kind of got mixed up. However, we're back for another full pod. Don't you worry about it. We're here. A lot of emails to catch up on. Got a game to cover as well because the Celtics-Pelicans game is tonight as we're recording this. Obviously, as you guys are listening to this, that game already happened, but we will get to a recap of that in a minute. Sam, we just recorded Talking Z's, so I've talked to you for like the past hour now, but how are you? How are you doing?
I'm fucking freezing. I talked about this before. This house is either a sauna or I'm in an ice box upstairs.
That caught me off guard.
I'm so cold. I'm hungry. I'm trying to eat this thing. I have to shower before I go to the game. The protein bar. But I am just nonstop today.
You're going.
But yeah.
It happens. I got back from the dentist. Spoiler alert for the rat list. Don't you worry about it. I'll be there. The dentist will be there no matter what. However, before we get into the rat list, before we get into the NBA section, let's throw it over to our future selves to recap the Celtics-Pelicans game. All right. Thank you to our past selves for throwing it on over to us after the Celtics-Pelicans game. Celtics took home the 118-112 win over the Pels after a terrible first half. Big time second half from Tatum and Derrick White specifically. Drew Holiday with a massive third quarter got the job done. 6 different Celtics finished in double figures, managed to take down the Pels without Kristaps Porzingis, overcoming a pretty solid performance from Brandon Ingram, as well as Zion. With big time efficient nights for the Pels. Just an overall really solid win for the Celtics after a really rough first half, which again followed a smackdown at the hands of the Clippers on Saturday. So it got back in the win column at home. Good win against a good playoff team. Solid all around for the C's.
Yeah, I mean, very, very impressive win by the Celtics after they looked kind of dead. Almost in the same situation they were in on Saturday, where Clippers were just having their way and Celtics couldn't get anything to go. They were kind of forcing at times, and instead of kind of melting and giving up, they fought. They played good defense. After the first quarter, where they gave up 36 points, they did not allow more than 27 in any other quarter. So they did a really great job of not only making things difficult on the Pelicans, but even turning them over. They forced 8 in the second half alone, and 5 of those came in the fourth, where they really stormed back for good. They did 2 comebacks today. Pretty impressive. You don't get double comebacks too often. So it's a big boy win, big boy close for the Celtics today after really scaring us early in this one. I didn't think they had it in them when they had those kids singing the High School Musical. I thought that was it.
You said they were I remember you turned to me at halftime. You said they were losing by 20. Bobby Manning showed me this tweet after the game. Bobby said, this is a second half run. Celtics 10-2 to pull within 2. Pelicans 6-0 answer. Boston went on a 16-5 run. Pelicans responded with a 19-5 run to go up 11. Celtics finished 33-11 to finish from behind 11 to up 11 in the fourth quarter. Just huge game of runs in this one. And the Celtics ended up being on top because of big-time shot making in the clutch by D. White and Jayson Tatum, and a lock-in mentality on defense in which they managed to slow down Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson after really a game where they just were killing them and making tough shots all night. Zion was getting whatever he wanted at the rim. Celtics were playing, even if they did play solid defense on Ingram, he was just making everything he took. Really big game. The Pelicans had an efficient night overall. Like Herb Jones, 3 of 4 from 3, all of them from 3. I mean, CJ was 7-14, though he didn't make his threes. I guess Trey Murphy wasn't great, but like they shot the ball pretty well, except from 3 overall. And that's really like the difference. So the shot margins, like the Pelicans took more shots than the Celtics, made more shots than the Celtics, but 17-10 on threes is going to do it. That's going to win you the game. And the Celtics stuck with it. They were shooting rough, but Big makes from Al Horford kept him in it. Big makes from Derrick White in the fourth quarter after a horrendous first half. He had 4 points heading into the first half, and he had 13 in the fourth. Jaylen Brown was big for them at times. He had 22, 11, and 7. Jayson Tatum had 28, 10, and 8, and 3 steals and a block. Tatum was huge in the passing lanes. Jaylen Brown was huge defending the best players on the Pelicans. Jrue Holiday was big time making buckets, especially in that third quarter to get them back in it. Sam Hauser made his threes. Brissett and Keita gave some okay minutes, and excuse me, and there Pritchard, contributed in his way. He wasn't actually that great, but like this was a very well-rounded performance from the Celtics after, like you said, Sam, the first half made it look like they're out of this game. And we can start here by going player to player, like Derrick White. Like that's going to be the headline. That's going to be the story. He had been absolutely terrible heading into that fourth quarter over the past 2 games. Really, he didn't make a single shot against the Clippers, and this one he was 1 of 8, I think, and 1 of 6 from behind the 3-point line and through the first 3 quarters. Then he snapped out of it, made a shot, and he just made everything. He almost single-handedly buried the Pelicans in this game. Tatum obviously with the assist, but like Derrick White was the nail in the coffin for them. It was like, okay, yeah, the scale's tipping in the Celtics' favor, and it's not coming back.
Yeah, Derrick White was excellent, and I think this was one of my favorite team wins of the year. I don't want to take the attention off of him because I think his recovery on the fly was truly impressive, and it's something he talked about after the game when we were at the press conference, where it was like everybody's encouraging him. Missoula touched upon it too, and they just really sent him the message that they are confident in him. He needs to keep shooting. He's got all the ability in the world, and that's why they have the trust in him. But, I mean, you had moments from everybody. You mentioned it. Jrue Holiday took over this game in the third quarter. He had 12 points. That's the most points he's had in a quarter per Justin Turpin. WEI helped us out with a little stat there. But he had a great showing. Like he was doing it on both ends of the ball, and he was making big shots. He was getting out in transition for big momentum plays. He had a pair of and ones. He made a couple of threes. He just was everywhere. It was why it was one of those things. It's like, yes, this is why they have him here, because people tend to forget just because this guy's taking a back seat willingly and not taking on as much offensive responsibility doesn't mean he isn't good. It just means he's doing what he's asked. He's not asked to go out there and try and score 25 points. He's out there to try and make 3 threes if he's open. And play defense. That's it. Tatum getting deflections on defense is something that really sparked this. The turnovers they forced in the second half were excellent. They were able to get out and run. Holiday was able to benefit from that. Tatum benefited. He had several dunks. And then it all culminates, and Jaylen was great too in the first half. He really was a great starter in this game, as he usually is. Yeah. But it all culminated in Derrick White getting going and finally breaking his slump. The whole Reddick pod narrative has been going crazy the last, 3 weeks since he did it. And he comes out, scores 13 in the fourth, like you said, making threes, creating layups inside, just being patient and confident. It was truly beautiful to watch.
Yeah, Tatum was big time in the passing lanes, as well as a shot blocker in this game. He only had 1 block, but his help defense was like a big reason why the Celtics were able to sort of lock down the Pelicans after they were getting what they wanted for the majority of the game. And like I said, Jaylen Brown's individual defense was huge for them taking on the matchup of Zion and Brandon Ingram. I'm curious to see what those two shot on him, but like you said, this was a great team win. They played the right way. Joe Mazzulla talked about it after the game, like. I think he, responding to Bobby Karitzky's question, chatted and talking season inside the Celtics. He was like, he referenced another game, Bulls Nets, and
the Bulls Nets
said,
game.
Yeah, and he was like, they were down big, they being the Nets, because the guys that they were wanting to let take shots made the shots, and then they came back from the deficit because they played the right way, and that's what the Celtics did in this one, right? Like, you look at the first quarter, like, I turned to you and I remember saying, like, I don't think the defense has been that bad, and you kind of laughed at me because they had like 30 points at the time in the first quarter. But I think what I was trying to say was like,
they didn't get them for free.
I think what I was trying to say was like, they should be okay with some of the shots they were giving up. Like, look at the first quarter, and it was Herb Jones going 2 of 2 from 3. I don't actually know off the top of my head what he shoots from behind the 3-point line, but I don't think it's very good. He is this season actually 38% from 3, I guess. But I'm
well, Joe reps 39 is like almost a benchmark that scouts will look at.
Yeah, sure. So he's below 39% on the season, I guess, if that's the benchmark. CJ McCollum made a tough 3. Brandon Ingram made a 3, and Brandon Ingram was making a ton of tough buckets, as was Jonas Valanciunas making a couple in the post. And so I think they were relatively okay with some of the guys they were letting get to their spots. And then by the time the second half came around, they locked in, they changed their scheme, they played some zone, they sent more help, they were quicker with their rotations, they picked up the energy a little bit, and they stayed the course in terms of their mindset. And like you said, like they didn't let up 27 points in a quarter, or that was the most they let up in a quarter the rest of the game. And so I do think there is benefit to maintaining your defensive discipline and your defensive game plan. And while it let up a lot of points in the first, I think just making subtle tweaks here and there and adjusting the energy and putting, some guys in slightly different spots, like, can make a huge difference. And I think that's what the Celtics ended up doing. And so credit to the Jays for huge two-way performances. Credit to the Celtics for sticking with it and maintaining that mindset. I mean, like you said, you thought they were going to be down by 20 or lose by 20 at halftime. Just a great, if it wasn't for Minnesota, I would say this is one of their best wins of the season. Like this is up there in terms of just gritting it out and getting a win against a really good team in clutch time, where they have been pretty average, I think, this season.
Yeah, they've had moments where you're like, are they really going to win this one? Like, I don't know if I can trust them yet. The playoffs will come around and you'll be like, I need them to blow them out in order to feel good. And that just isn't the reality of it sometimes. As Missoula kind of told everybody tonight, his big talking point from the press conference was that, like, expectations around the Celtics are kind of crazy. And anytime that they don't blow out teams, people are kind of disappointed, and that's not how it should be. He really stressed that they're going to have to earn their wins. I decided to write about that.
He said he wanted to.
Yeah,
he said I want us to blow leads.
It felt like out of spite, but he was like, yes, I would like to lose double-digit leads 10 to 12 more times. But I don't.
I get what he's saying.
But there is value in being in the situation, having to recover, or a day like today. Even today, I think I said to you guys upstairs, I was like, it's nice to see him play from behind, because you don't always have to see it. You don't see them actually have to battle through when things aren't going their way. And this year, when things haven't gone their way, for the most part, it stayed that way. The Milwaukee game, the Clippers game we just saw. I don't know off the top of my head if there's a ton of games that they stormed back in, Jack. Do you remember? And that's not they roll over and die. It's just they're usually out in front like everyone thinks they're going to be.
Minnesota is really the big good example. The Philly game in Philly, I think they did end up storming back to a degree. I think they were down. No, the one they won in Philly.
Okay.
That they won the game. I think they were down by a decent chunk, at least in the third quarter at some point. So, yeah, I think there are some examples, but I do think this is the first one in a while, at the very least, outside of the Minnesota game, obviously.
Yeah, and I just thought it was kind of like, it was Joe being funny. He was like, everybody knock it off. Everybody's got this expectation that the Celtics are going to blow everybody out, and that's just not the case. It's an NBA game, and Gary Washburn asked him about New Orleans only scoring, 87 points the other day, and then they come in and scored 36 in the fourth quarter. 83, even worse. And he was like, that's perfect. Like, yeah, it's an NBA team. Like, you're going to have to earn it. You're going to earn a win. Like, you have to show up and actually play for real to win. It's not because you're the Celtics you win.
And I think something else Joe has been stressing a lot lately, which I think is good, is he's almost presenting it as always blowing teams out is just as damaging as always losing, because in a way, like, you don't learn anything from those games. You settle, you get complacent, you think about it that way. So I don't think he actually wants to consistently blow 15-point leads. I think that's just his way of getting the message across of, it's good for us to not be blowing teams out every game, because it's better to learn from that, and it will help us in the playoffs when, in all likelihood, we're not just going to blow every team out. Like, there's going to be a lot of close games in the playoffs. And so getting this experience under our belts before then is more important than just rolling every team over, even though Celtics fans would probably like it if they just rolled every team over.
I would love that. Personally, they should just kill everybody. But do you think he has, not regrets, but almost a wish that they had to deal with more last season? Because in the regular season, you don't remember a lot of games that you were like, damn, that game was terrible. And then come playoff time, they did manage to battle out of a few situations that were not ideal. Going down and losing game 1 against Philly, game 5 against Philly, and winning that series. And then you go down 0-3 to Miami and you battle back and almost win. I think maybe he feels if they had to deal with more in the regular season, maybe they pull off the Miami comeback, because a minor encapsulation of things not going your way is Tatum hurting himself in the final chapter of your comeback. You didn't plan for that. And then when they didn't have him to just steamroll everybody, they really didn't know what to do. And it fell apart.
The NFL season is wrapping up, and there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Now, the app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays, find bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. That's it. Shout out to Tatum for being really good in this game. He was awesome. I mean, like I was talking to you, he's 2 of 8 from 3, but 8 of 10 from 2. He was getting some crazy drives on the Pelicans. Like, they were playing pretty solid defense, and he was just weaving his way in and finding a way to the cup and getting there. He is awesome when he gets downhill like that. And a couple of threes he took, I guess you could say, maybe you should have taken that. There were like 3 of his 8 threes. We're like, maybe not. But like I always say, and I stand by it, I'm okay with him mixing some of those in because he is Jayson Tatum, as long as he doesn't take them in the clutch at a bad moment. And to his credit, I don't think he really took any in the clutch at a bad moment. Maybe one was in like 3 minutes, 4 minutes left. But I thought he was pretty good at understanding the moment. And another thing I think is important, we talked about it after maybe the Nuggets loss. The Celtics let somebody else close out the game. They didn't have to go to Derrick White or the Jaylen Brown or Jayson Tatum. They let Derrick White. They saw he was hot. They're like, all right, Derrick, take us home. Do something. Do it. Do it. And that's huge.
That some of their best clutch outings this year have been that way. Even the Minnesota one that was Tatum. It was Tatum because it was Tatum that day. He had it. He was the horse that they were riding to charge back. The Pistons game, it was Porzingis. He was a big part of the closing of that game. They went to him. They went to him low. The Rockets game in Houston, last weekend, the weekend before, was another Porzingis game because he had it. And they need to be more willing to be flexible at the end of the game. It goes into what you say all the time, where they don't need to play differently just because the time says so. And this team is built to play flexibly and to play reactively to what they are doing that day. You shouldn't necessarily have to have a end of game plan that you always rely on, because it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I agree with you. You need to switch it up. Do what the moment calls for. Great job from them tonight. We didn't really talk about Jaylen a lot, but he was also really good in this game, especially defensively. No turnovers, crashed the glass, was diming people up. I didn't even notice he was dishing out that many assists. He had 7. And I think that's a really good thing. If you're not noticing Jaylen making the good passes, that means he's just a good passer now. That means he's just a solid playmaker, which is good. Tatum had 7 turnovers, which isn't great, but it did feel like I didn't feel like he had 7 turnovers. Like, I didn't know he had that many till after the game. Maybe it just wasn't. I don't know. Maybe that's on me, but good game from him. Horford was solid. O'Shea was solid, though he missed his 1-3 and got absolutely barbecue chicken torched by Zion Williamson for like 3 straight minutes, which wasn't great. Nemish Keita was fine, but he was weird in some spots, and there's that. Hauser good, solid defense. I'm trying to think, did we get it all? Pritchard was kind of there. I think we got it all. Drew Holiday was good. We didn't really talk about him.
Everybody
Drew Holiday was really good.
It was a team win.
Drew Holiday was really good. Yeah. Big. All right. Any final thoughts before we throw it over the rest of the show?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I hope my past self enjoys the protein bar I was eating.
All right, we're back. Don't worry about it. Hopefully we're back after a win, after chatting about a win. And if not, then, well, we won't know that we're miserable until then. And so we can enjoy the rest of this pod for now. Anyways, like I mentioned, we have a lot of emails to catch up on, so let's do that now. But first, let's spin the Incognito wheel. Make sure to comment what's popping for a chance to win. And since it was awkward with recording, this looks like we only have 1 entry. So
who's it gonna be?
Congrats to Dennis Holland for winning Incognito. Make sure to send us an email. Send us an email at hbtcpod@gmail.com with your name and phone number, and we'll get you hooked up for a $10 Incognito gift card. Shout out, Dennis. Congratulations. Now let's jump
W for
email.
Dennis.
Lots of emails to catch up on, like I said, starting all the way back on the 25th. We're recording this on the 29th again. Sorry for the delay. Recording got a little messed up. However, from Michael Hilly, cap space question. What's popping, guys? Hope y'all are doing well. I had a cap space apron question about the Celtics. Obviously, the Celtics are over the second apron. Will have major restrictions next season because of it. Excuse me. I was wondering if there is perhaps a reason for the Celtics to add someone making money using the TPE now and waiting until the offseason to make a trade, combining players for a player making bigger salary, or would the restrictions start too early in the offseason for them to be able to do that? That might be a Keith Smith question, LOL. The next league year starts, I believe it's the day after the draft, I think is when the new league year starts. So depending on when
it's free agency, because that's why like the contracts open up because the year's over. The new year's
I said I thought it was after the draft because you know how you see all those draft night trades, and they don't actually make the trade, they just make it and they have to wait till the next day. That's because a team like the 76ers, who doesn't have their pick next year, can't trade that pick legally this year. But once it gets to the next league year, they can, because it's further out. And so they draft the player and trade the player rather than the pick. But I can double check. When does the next league year start? NBA.
Wouldn't it also be smarter to trade the player after you pick them, so you're like trading salary instead of no salary?
I don't exactly know how it works. I don't know. I can't find when the league year starts because I'm seeing key dates as in like starts of other stuff. It's some point in the offseason. It's either start of the free agency or the start of the draft when the official like league year starts and ends. So that's when it'll happen. So there probably won't be a ton of room for them to make those moves, etc. Michael.
Well, also, like just a little bit more information on this question. I'm pretty sure the new CBA, like penalties, the more years you're over the cap, continue to pile up. So like if you make a move this year, it's still going to count. I think it still counts. Like the Celtics are already over the second apron, so I don't know if it matters. But if you get rid of that guy before the new season starts, you may avoid the next year penalty. I don't know. Maybe I just shouldn't speak because I don't know that much. I know a little bit, but I don't know all of it.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to what you're saying. But I do know. Let me reread the question. Now I'm confusing myself. Second apron, major restrictions. It doesn't matter. Celtics can make a trade whenever. I think they're going to be in the tax regardless. And regardless if they make the trade now versus next year, like if that player is on the roster, they're still going to pay the taxes for that player. So it doesn't matter if they add him now versus later. Like they're going to have to pay the taxes for all the players on their team next year, regardless of when they got them. So I don't think there's a benefit to making a deal now versus in the summer. And as far as the league year, I think it's around the draft free agency period in that little window when it starts and ends. So yeah, Celtics can do whatever, whenever. And as Sam always says, not my money anyways.
Not my money. And sorry, we're too stupid to answer your question.
What's popping? You cannot stop him. You can only hope to contain him. This is from 4 days ago. Evening, guys. We all wanted a sweep on this road trip. Who would have guessed win number 3 would be so easy? This is about the Heat game. How easy until we hit Geno times. Each Celtics player was shooting 50% or better. JT and D White were the two bottom feeders at 50% even. Celtics had 36 assists on 51 baskets. Celtics out-rebounded the Heat by 17, even after Porzingis tweaked his ankle. C's closed out a 45-34 run in Miami. And the man who put the Heat to bed was the Green Cornet. When he came into the game in the third quarter, he collected 2 rebounds, 8 points, and 3 dunks, and 2 free throws in 11 minutes he played in the second half. Celtics doubled up the Heat 28-14. Miami had no answer for him. Definitely get him on an extension. Be well, RJ. Shout out Luke Cornett, man.
Random Luke Cornett thought, I think he's going to be like Scal when he's done. Like, I think he's going to end up like doing TV.
That'd be electric. I feel like he's too quiet for that, though. I don't know if he's as vocal as out there as Scal.
He's like still funny. Like he does funny stuff, and like he kind of plays into jokes and things like that. Like he has like a fun personality, and the whole team likes him. He must be somewhat vocal. He's not a media guy because like he's not a podium game guy, really.
I guess. I don't know. I can see it. He's definitely has a personality. I don't know if he's outgoing enough. Next email from Dennis Holland. Shout out to What's Poppin' winner. What's poppin'? So nice to see. So nice to see the Celtics blow out and dominate the Heat. I'm looking forward to the Clippers game tomorrow. Sorry, I feel the Celtics are moving the ball.
Famous last words.
And the way they're running the offense through Porzingis when they do are basically unstoppable because guys pass the ball and find the best shots. And when they do that, it makes it very easy to score and play defense quickly, not giving up the fast break. Keep up the great pod, guys. Well, you saw what happens when Porzingis is not playing, I guess.
This is like the perfect foreshadow. Like if you were writing a book or a novel and you wanted to foreshadow the tragedy that was Saturday, this would be included. Like this, everything about Dennis's email was crystal ball. Like, sucked that the Clippers game went the way it did. Porzingis was a key part of that because they didn't have him. They weren't able to play the way Dennis describes, and it went poorly.
Yep. Everything that you said you liked in the Heat game with Porzingis, the opposite happened in the Clippers game because Porzingis didn't play. And we've talked about that at length since then, including in our Talking Seas with Bobby Kritsky, which came out last night. So make sure to go check that out. From RJ, what's poppin'? Roster spots 14 and 15. Evening, guys. Lots of people scoring lots of points this week. So, of course, it's time to look at the Celtics bench. Celtics have been running with a 13-player roster to date with 3 two-way guys, contract guys, and Jordan Walsh rotating through the last 2 spots. Of the 4 of them, Neemias Queta has gotten the most time by far with a whopping 210 minutes compared to 6, 6, and 3 for Davison, Walsh, and Peterson. The Celtics will certainly convert one of the two-way deals to a regular contract for the playoffs, most likely Queta, with Walsh having a full deal already. Thus, if the Celtics do want to bring in a fresh body via trade or buyout, someone amongst Fee Mikhailuk, Lamar Stevens, or Delano Baton will have to be cut loose. I think it's highly unlikely Brad makes a deal for an outside player because of the amount of time it takes to integrate a player into the Celtic system. So it's possible Davison or Peterson leapfrogs ahead of one of the 3 amigos. I think it is just as unlikely as the trade idea, but I was going to throw a dart. I could see Drew Peterson getting the nod at the expense of Svi. Drew has a fundamentally sound 3-point shot. He's currently hitting 45% in Maine, along with a good court vision and strong passing skills. While he's slender, he does have a wiry strength to him. And being older, he's learned how to use his physical tools against stronger players. At the end of it all, I went to our Latvian friend Pete. You don't hit when you already have 21. Be well.
That's
RJ.
right. That's right.
Shout out RJ.
The biggest facts of all time. I like the bench. And as we've beaten into the ground, we've beaten the dead horse. I don't really know who's out there that's really going to knock your socks off. It just doesn't really happen.
Yeah. I don't know if there is anybody. I guess I can see, maybe a 2-way conversion, but at this point, just rock with what you got, convert Nemi, be fine. I think that'll just
keep
about
texting Blake Griffin.
What's poppin'? Ugly Stats edition from 2 days ago. Evening, guys. Ugly game. We've gotten to the Clippers part of the email. I'll leave it to you or some stats, Maven, to figure out how many looks the C's got at the rim that they misfired on. But I believe the technical term is a lot. Here are some easily compiled ugly stats. C's bench accounted for 58 of the team's 96 points. Pritchard and Cornette outscored the Celtics starters, not named Jayson Tatum. Neemias Queta outscored Drew Holiday. So did Lamar Stevens. Celtics now have a 2-game home losing streak. I'm sure Celtics Twitter will be on fire, but a lot of this game did feel like shots didn't go in, but the Celtics kept grinding it out on defense until they ran out of steam in the 3rd quarter. Let's see how we do against the Pelicans on Monday. Be well, RJ. Any thoughts, Sam?
After talking to Bobby, I don't disagree with the threes weren't falling thing, but there should be a wrinkle that they pull out when that goes that way.
I agree.
I've been saying that for a while.
I agree, and unfortunately, I think the wrinkle is usually Porzingis, and when they don't have that, then they don't have any other wrinkle.
That's what's great about that addition. But the other great thing about the Porzingis addition is it's giving you a new way to use Tatum, and they didn't use Tatum on Saturday, so that's another bad aspect of the Clippers game.
For what it's worth, I don't think it was all Tatum's fault. They failed to find him in many spots.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They just didn't give him the ball, and he was 8 of 11. And then he got mad that they didn't give him the ball, and then he forced and finished 8 of 18.
Tough night all around. Just a bad one.
But
next thing,
home wins, home losing streak. Wear the right jerseys. They're doing it tonight against New Orleans, and also, just be serious with that, and you'll win. Easy.
It is simple as that. Next email we got from Naeem. Hey, it's potential veterans. Hey, I'm a big fan. Keep it up. Appreciate you. Do you guys think we should add some veterans to the team, similar to what Danny did in 08, 2010, and even 2012? Had some veterans who in their last few seasons of their career and contributed pretty well to our teams. These guys include PJ Brown, Sam Cassell, Rasheed Wallace, Keon Dooling, and Chris Wilcox as well. I'm sure at the time some fans would have been calling them washed, yet they were quite solid for us. Would you try guys like Rudy Gay or even hometown kid Nerlens Noel? Also, not sure if Thad Young will be on the buyout market, but it would be cool to see him with Al Horford, who 2 guys in the same draft class, possibly get a championship ring. By the way, I know Jeff Green was in the same draft. I remember Oladipo was at our Denver game in TD. I'm not sure if that means anything, especially because he's in Indiana for college and Brad is from Indiana. Obviously, these guys in Indy will be playing huge amount of minutes, but I think they'll make contributions throughout the playoffs. Let me know what you think. Follow up. I also think we need some guy with grit. We just lost our grit. We traded Smart and Grant. Dudes that will start a fight that can motivate the team. Rob Blocks would get us motivated too. To put it simply,
one email at a time.
I think no. I don't really think they need the veterans they have are key parts of rotation, like Drew Holiday, Al Horford, right? Like they have veterans in the starting lineup who do help them. And anybody they get is just not going to play in this rotation. Like all those guys, Cassell, Wallace, Wilcox, like those guys got some run because Celtics had a little bit of a spot at the end of the bench, right? Like they had some like, oh, we'll throw you a few minutes here. They're not going to get that in Boston. And so I'm not going to say no to like, well, Rudy Gay's cooked, right? No to Rudy Gay, no to Nerlens Noel. No to Oladipo. If Jeff Green was available, like I think that could be like a maybe guy because he's still somehow giving like quality minutes at 43 years old. But none of these guys you mentioned are contributing anything, and it's not just easy to jump right back into the league, especially in a situation like this, and just provide minutes. So yeah, I don't think so.
Another tough part of the veteran email is there are now restrictions with the buyout. Like, if you were like, what if they got Kyle Lowry? They can't. He was making too much money before he got bought out. Gordon Hayward's the same way. So, in terms of actual players they can add to the team, it's the guys that nobody wanted in the first place. It's not like there was somebody on a team that was underperforming that gets bought out. And then you can just bring them in, and it's a found money type thing. The new CBA has axed that, and it's really hard to find veterans that aren't rotation guys that you already have any other way. Now, guys with grit. O'Shea Brissett, gritty. Yes. When he's out there, he plays hard. He is not going to start a fight. James Johnson, Pacers in town tomorrow. Second 10-day contract after they got in the little skirmish with the Bucks. Pacers are on the same page as you.
I think the grit thing is overrated. Like
I don't, but
like I don't know. Like the Celtics are a good basketball team. I don't think you need like this guy who's going to start a fight on a team. I think you need guys who are going to play hard. I think the Celtics have guys who, to their credit, while every once in a while they'll have an off game, like even in the Clippers game, they're busting their ass on defense. Like they're still playing hard, right? It's not like they're just wilting out. And I'm sorry, but like Marcus Smart starting a fight in the third quarter wasn't going to win them the game. And I'm not saying that's what you were saying, Naeem, but like I just think the grit thing is super overrated. Like yes, some championship teams have had it in the past, right? Like the Bucks had PJ Tucker, sure. The Warriors had Draymond Green. They've always had Draymond Green. Who the fuck was it on the Nuggets last year? Nobody. They just had a good fucking team and they won basketball games by being damn good. No, they didn't have any grit guys. They were just a good fucking basketball team and it won them a title. And I think that's what the Celtics are doing. I don't think they need any.
I feel like Jokic is a sneaky grit guy. He's just the star of the team. I'm not joking.
No, it's not at all what Naeem is saying. I don't think it's the same. You think Jokic is their grit guy?
I mean, they had Jeff Green on their team. You mentioned Jeff Green.
Yeah,
we mentioned him in the veterans. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But somebody like Bruce Brown is a gritty type player. He gets in the trenches. He plays good defense and he makes the right play.
That's different from what I'm talking about. I think you need guys who will play hard. That's what I was saying. And I think the Celtics have guys who play hard. I think Pritchard.
I think that's how you describe grit, though.
But that's not what Naeem is saying. Naeem's saying fair. A guy who will start a fight. I'm saying they don't need that. And that's what I'm saying I think is overrated. I think, just start a fight, cause problems guy is overrated and I don't think important. You need guys who played hard, obviously. I started my thing by saying that. And I think the Celtics have that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you need fighters on your team, but
I think you
need grit.
Yeah,
I think it's
I don't
different.
mind.
I think this is a misnomer here.
Sure, but I'm responding to what he's describing. And he's not describing what you're saying.
That's fine.
All right. Next email, trades. Sam, it's your email. Ryan Hall says trades. Is it me or do we need to go all in these next few years? Our window's short and we need to make the most of it. The trade deadline is coming up and we need to do something. I say we trade a first or even a first and a second to get a guy with that $6 million TPE and then pair Banton's fee in like 2 seconds and grab the best guy around $4 million. With their last roster spot, give it to Keita. Might as well use the TPE so it doesn't go to waste. If we can get a rotation piece with guys that we don't play like Svi and Banton, I say screw it. Thoughts? Much love, Ryan.
I love Ryan first and foremost, but
I think I'm
who the fuck is the best $4 million guy?
Before you go in, I'm gonna say I agree with the concept of making these next 2 years important.
I also agree,
but that doesn't exist. There is no $4 million, $6 million guy like go all in. And like the Celtics have the best guys you can get for those price ranges, like Luke Cornett, Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, right? Like
Ryan is a loyal listener. We have scratched all ends of the earth to find the TPE guy that's worth it. And there's like 2 that even their names.
Let me read you some names. The best $4 million guy or whatever, right? Derek Lively not getting traded. Josh Green not getting traded. Jared Vanderbilt, no. Nickeil Alexander-Walker not getting traded. James Bouknight, no. Jaylen Williams not getting traded. Sadiq Bey, I guess, but I don't think they're going to just do that for nothing, right? Like there's just nothing out there that is.
Well, that's what he's saying to his point. Like, would you give up a first and a second for Sadiq Bey? The answer is no.
No, right? There's nobody worth cutting the assets for that. Shout out Sadiq Bey, but there's just nothing worth it at that point because nobody's going to give you significant enough minutes because nobody making $6 or $4 million is going to play over the guys they already have in the rotation because they've built the rotation already and they're damn good. So I just it's not out there. It's just not there. I agree with the concept of going all in and making these next few years count, but it's not by wasting your picks on guys who are not going to play for as much as you say the picks mean nothing. Like you save them for when something does pop up that can be useful, or you save them for adding talent on the back end, right? You don't just waste a first round pick because you want to quote unquote go all in on a guy who's not going to play and then might leave this summer. That's just not like what you do.
Well, also Ryan, I think these picks are a way to make it so your window isn't just 2 years. Mm-hmm. With the new CBA, you're very limited in how you can bring players onto your team and how much money you can pay guys that aren't necessarily your best players. That's what the draft is for. You get a bunch of cheap guys, and it's a search. Like, it's hit or miss. You're not guaranteed you're going to get a good player with your draft pick, but if you hit on your draft picks, it's going to make you a much better team. Just look at Denver right now, right? Denver let Bruce Brown and Jeff Green walk away this summer. They are right at the top of the West. They're not up at the top, but they're right there, despite Jamal Murray missing nearly a month with a hamstring strain back in November. That's because guys they drafted, Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, are giving them really good minutes off the bench, and they don't have to pay them a bunch of money. It's so important to sustain success because, to your point, they could have fallen off a cliff and really missed Bruce Brown and Jeff Green this summer, but they didn't because the guys that they brought in through the draft were ready. So that's the importance of those picks, and it can make your window bigger, which is what we all want.
Your mic bugged out there for a second. It squeaked. It scared the shit out of me. I can't lie.
Did it? My bad. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It made me jump. I wonder if the camera caught it. I went like, oh. No, but what Sam says is very true. And as much as I think a lot of people like say, oh, you're contending, fuck the draft picks. Like, you need them at this point. Like, you can't just get rid of them. Like Sam said, I'll use the Nuggets as the example. Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, Julian Strother, all playing like 13 plus minutes a game for them. That's huge, right? Like, that's so big. Just finding those guys and
they make
them.
A combined like $5 million.
Exactly. And that's what's huge. Like, Peyton Watson is a legitimate part of the rotation and a great defender, and having him on the books is big for them.
He made big plays against the Celtics. He had a couple blocks that were important to Denver's win.
He's big, man. I think you need it. I don't think you wasted on a guy who's not going to play. Anyways, next email from RJ. What's popping? More love for the high post. Happy Monday, guys. Great drop this morning, Monday 129. Hey, that's right now. On KP's contributions to the Celtics. I love Porzingis and what he brings to the team. And while he is perhaps the best passer in the squad in terms of reading and acting where to get the ball, I think other players can help to seize out in a similar fashion. Our favorite unicorn by using them more in the high post. Luke, Al, Tatum, and Nemi can all flash to the high post and either to receive or threaten to receive a pass and bend the defense, even if the ball doesn't come out of the post as quickly or sharp as when Porzingis does it. Getting the ball off the perimeter and into the paint should open up threes in the near corner and the high perimeter as defenders cheat towards the post. Additionally, Luke shouldn't have Should have enough room to put up a clear 12-footer rather than a highly contested dunk attempt, which seems to give him problems. Heck, that shot might work for Nebe too. Hopefully we'll see the Celtics making good adjustments against the Pels tonight. Be well, RJ. Sam said it a million times. The guy is Tatum to do that. I think they need to run through him more there. And in general, as backward as it is, I think they need to run through him a little bit more than they do right now. Like, get him the ball, let him make plays, let him like run the offense from that spot, let him get into the pick and roll, let him screen and be the screen and roll. Like, he is so good to go stretches like 6 minutes in the game without a shot attempt. I'm sorry, but he's too good for that to happen. Too good for him not to touch the ball in those spots, especially when the team is reeling. And you saw that in the Clippers game. And I think running him in this role a little bit more could help the team.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it going forward. And I think we have a nice opportunity in front of us with big guys maybe all missing this game tonight. We don't really know.
Need me time. Need me time.
Put him on the screen. So you got him. Where is he?
Or he's in the Celtics section. We're in the Incognito section. He's not on the screen. All right, last email. I think this just came in.
Yes, it did.
From Christian Calderon 8 minutes ago, as we were doing the
Incognito Bandit.
Luke Cornett, the new Marcus Smart. Hey, fellas, for the last few seasons, I think we would agree that the most polarizing player was Marcus Smart. Celtics fans either love Marcus or absolutely despised him to the point where it was tough to find neutral opinions on him as a player. I feel that this year, with Marcus Smart no longer on the team, that player is now Luke Cornett. Even though they're two completely different players, the reactions to Cornett playing are similar to the reactions of fans when Smart would play. People either love Cornett and make it known that when he has a good game, then when he has a bad game, you definitely hear/see the people making their opinion known. I do want to give you both credit. I think you both do a good job of being relatively neutral on Cornett. In my opinion, I think Cornett is a solid third big man to have. However, I can see how many get frustrated by his play at times. Just wondering what you both thought of my comparison. Agree, disagree, open to hearing your thoughts. Christian Calderon. Shout out, Christian. I see it. I think he is definitely a you love him or hate him guy. People don't have the perspective, which you outlined here perfectly. He's really good for a third string big, but he's a third string big for a reason. Like that, you can like him for what he is, but you don't like the people who dislike him just have ridiculously high expectations of what he should be doing. He plays his role. He's really good in that role. Period. That's the end.
He's pretty much rock solid. Like his job, and I've said this before, you just don't want to notice him. Like, unless you're noticing him for the right reasons. If you're watching a Celtics game and you're not thinking about Luke Cornett, things are going well. That means he's not out there getting taken advantage of on the perimeter. He's not getting dominated inside. They're not giving up a bunch of offensive rebounds. He's boxing out and he's taking care of his job. That's all he's really being asked to do. His touch around the rim is very solid. He did miss some the last game, but for the most part, he's a reliable option underneath the basket, and that's what they're asking for him. They don't need him to shoot threes, even though I'm still contend he can do that. And I'm kind of surprised they don't try and utilize it more.
Every time I watch games, the entire Clippers game, he was running pick and roll, and I was turning to Bobby, and I would just go, Luke Cornett would get the ball, he'd go, shoot the ball, shoot it, do it.
There was one where he caught it at the top of the key. He was wide open, and Caleb was like, why didn't he shoot? And I was like, it's not really what he does, but I'm pretty sure he can do it.
Just take a couple, man. Just take one or two.
Luke Cornett makes a three, unlocks a whole new level to the Celtics. Defenses have no choice but to really fly out on him every time.
Our next Celtics film room video is just watching all the threes Luke Cornett could be taking. You know, he leads NCAA history in 3-pointers for a 7-footer or taller.
Yes, I forget if it was you that discovered this. Okay.
Brought it up all the time.
Yeah, because he could play. He could play.
Dude, he's good. He's really
just
good.
Think of all the threes he could take instead of Tatum.
I will shut the fuck up.
It's the picture of the futuristic society. It's like if Cornett shot threes.
I will say what RJ says is true. He does miss an abnormal amount of dunk attempts for a 7-footer. I tweeted out the Clippers game. I said, every time Luke Cornett gets the ball under the rim, it looks like he forgets he can dunk, then remembers, and then tries to put the dunk in the basket really quick. And then it doesn't work half the time. He just forgets he's really tall. He's hard. Like, oh yeah. And he puts it in.
I can only do it every once in a while.
You're not 7'2". Anyways, thank you, Christian. Thank you to all the guys, all the people who sent us an email today. Make sure to comment what's popping on the video or in an email to get entered in the contest. Shout out Dennis. Send us an email. Anyways, let's move on to the NBA section here. Check with the standings. It's going to be a great standings check-in because it's been a few days since we've been able to check in. So let's see where everybody's standing.
To the power rankings, and I think that's something we do next season. Because I don't think we can just start power rankings in January.
Why? It's our podcast. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
I don't like it.
Power rankings, and we rank the teams and we like change it every week, every pod.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we could start it at the All-Star break and then go from there. Or we're gonna just fucking
maybe
butt it off. Well, anyways, we'll start in the standings check-in. Celtics obviously lost their last one. They're 7-3 in their last 10. It feels like they're playing bad. That should tell you how good they are as a team. Bucks are also 7-3. Cavs are 9-1. They are red hot. Obviously, there is some of the asterisks there where they haven't been playing some good teams.
Mickey Mouse.
And shout out the Knicks, because the Knicks have been playing some good teams and they're just really damn good.
And they're going to get better. Stay tuned.
In the Knicks 6-game win streak, there have been some easy teams, but they are coming off not back to back, but wins over Denver and Miami, though there was Washington, Toronto, Brooklyn in there, and Houston. So keep some asterisks rolling. Anyways, Heat have lost 6 in a row. They are spiraling. The Terror's year trade has
hate
not
to see
them
that
too much.
Them and the Pacers. Like, Pacers have now won 3 in a row, but that trade screwed them.
They're back though.
Bad
Pacers
trades.
have won 3 in a row. 1 win streaks for the Magic, Bulls, Hawks, Nets. 5-game losing streak, I should say, for the Raptors. They're free falling down the standings. Hornets, Wizards, Pistons. 3 losses in a row for the Hornets. However, Wizards and Pistons each coming off a win. The Pistons beat the Thunder. Big win for the Pistons. Big boy win for the Pistons over the Thunder, Sam.
It was a big boy win. Our Pistons beat the Thunder yesterday. It's tough because the Pistons were the only Detroit team to win yesterday.
I was so sad. Were you rooting for the Lions too? I hope so.
Yeah, I was. I checked this. I was traveling like all day yesterday, so I checked the score when I was home, and I was like, damn, that sucks.
Were you rooting for the Ravens or the Chiefs?
The Ravens.
I don't know why I found myself compelled to want the Chiefs to win.
Because you like Taylor Swift.
No, that's not it at all. I shouldn't want the Chiefs to win. I know I shouldn't want the Chiefs to win. I was trying to root for the Ravens, but it just feels like
you should
for
seen
some
Big Cat.
reason.
Poor guy. He put a future on the Ravens, and then he lost. He had it on his sweatshirt and everything. It was fun.
They played like ass. They were terrible in that game.
He threw all his clothes in the trash. After.
I feel like for some reason it feels like the Chiefs everyone's been like, oh yeah, it's a down year. The receivers suck. So it almost feels like they're the underdog for some reason now, even though they're the fucking Chiefs and I shouldn't want them to win. But now we're left with the Super Bowl with like, I don't want the Niners to win. They've been like the top team all year. I don't like this Super Bowl sucks. That's all I'm saying. Anyways,
that's why Western Conference care for the sport.
Western Conference, 1 loss in a row for the Thunder and the Timberwolves, who are now tied atop the Western Conference. This is a weird glitch in the standings. Clippers have won 5 in a row. Nuggets have won 1 in a row.
It's the winning percent. That's why.
Very weird. Nuggets are technically half a game back, but they're 1 game below the Clippers, who are 1 game back. Weird thing there. Whatever. Those are the top 4 teams in the West, though. Very clearly, Thunder, Timberwolves, Clippers, Nuggets. Kings are next up. They've won 3 in a row. They're finding their footing again after a rough stretch. Suns are now falling again with 2 losses in a row, as are the Pelicans, who are playing the Celtics tonight as we're recording this. Last night as you're listening to it. Loss for the Mavs as well. Lakers and Jazz figuring it out again. 2 wins in a row for each of them. Losses down towards the bottom, but the Spurs, Sam, 2 wins in a row. And 1 over the Blazers. But
the only team. No. There's several teams without 10 wins in the East, right? 2 or 3
There's
of them.
2. Wizards, Pistons, yeah.
Hornets just got it.
Spurs, though, they beat the Timberwolves the other night, too. They're figuring it out, man. I told you when they played the Celtics, although they got killed, like, they've been playing much better basketball in comparison to the start of their season. They've been really, like, turning a corner in terms of the level of play they're bringing to the table.
Yeah, I'm just looking at your thumbnail for the Porzingis video, and Tatum and Brown are so angry.
You want to know what I Googled for those? Jayson Tatum mad. Jaylen Brown mad. You want to know? I don't know why. Because I didn't want to put 4 pictures of Porzingis.
Yeah, and so I just thought it was funny.
I was like, you know what? Since I'm saying he's the most important part, I'll make pretend like Tatum and Brown are really angry that they're not the most important part. And so I just put them on the thumbnail, really mad. And that's what I threw on there. Anyways, next NBA thing we got is Doc Rivers update. We were talking about this last time, but obviously we didn't record. So Sam, would you like to break us down what's happening with the Doc?
Yeah. So last week, if you didn't know, which I don't know how you would not, Doc Rivers is now the coach of the Bucks after Adrian Griffin was fired mid-season, despite his team being 30-13. Multiple reports would indicate that Doc's contract with the Bucks is going to run through the 2027 season. I'm pretty sure this has since been confirmed since I put it together. He's gonna make $40 million. I'm not gonna crap on Doc. I'm just not.
Not per season, by the way. Just in total. Imagine,
imagine he's making more money than like everyone but Giannis. So on Reddit, I saw this post. If Doc Rivers coaches the Bucks on Friday, which he did not, I think he's making his coaching debut Monday, which is today. The Cavs would have faced the same team 3 times in 10 days, each time with a completely different coach. Imagine. Actually,
say that one more time for me. Say that one more time.
I don't think Doc did make his coaching debut on Friday, but had he made his debut with the Bucks, they would have faced Milwaukee 3 times within 10 days. They would have faced them with Adrian Griffin at the helm, Joe Prunty at the helm, and then Doc Rivers at the helm.
That's amazing.
Giannis claims to be none too pleased about this. He went on this really, really long rant about, this is what I don't like about the NBA. One day you walk in and Adrian Griffin is your coach, and then the next day he's not. And it was literally like 4 minutes of him up there talking, I'm pretty sure. I pasted the whole paragraph in, but I don't know where it went. And I just put we're all trying to find the guy who did this.
Yeah, that's my bad. I think I can get it back. I think I deleted it when I got in, but I have it here. You want me to read it? It's long as fuck.
No, I don't want you to read it. That's why I'm completely fine.
Here, I will.
Giannis cried for 4 minutes because he got
for context. For context, people watching on YouTube, this is the full quote.
Yeah,
it is very long.
Yeah. This is the thing I don't like about the NBA. It's a crazy business. Yesterday, Coach Griff, I'm only reading the first part. Coach Griff was our head coach. Today, he's not. And we walk in there, it's like he was never here. I don't like that about the NBA, and I speak openly about it. Now, can you pull up the video of the Bucks dancing?
Yeah. Do you want to go 55 burgers on the quote?
No.
Yeah. What's that? Let me see. Bucks dancing.
Because if you didn't see this part, after Giannis cried for 4 minutes, him and his teammates just went on the floor and celebrated that Adrian Griffin is no longer the coach of this team by dancing pregame at Fiserv Forum. Here they are.
In this. I hope the video's in here. Yeah,
there it is.
They're just hanging out.
Yeah, does Giannis look sad there? No. It literally looks like they're all doing the coffin dance. That's what it looks like.
Dun, 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 dun. Weird behavior. I mean, listen, I don't know enough about the situation to say whether or not they made the right choice. It seemed like things were going downhill with Adrian Griffin for a long time. So, like, whatever. It makes sense, I suppose, that they went that way. I think Doc Rivers is going to make his debut tonight or last night as you're listening to this.
Monday.
Today's Monday.
Well, I'm just saying the day because
okay.
Tuesday.
Yeah. That's why I said tonight. That's why I said last night as you're listening to this. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm sure it'll be fine. Probably more pick and roll gets run with Dame and Giannis, which is probably what the Bucks were looking for in the first place. We'll see what Doc can do. I don't know. Anyways, next thing, guys, people are very angry about all the scoring in the NBA. Obviously, last time we recorded a full-length pod, we didn't know that Luka was going to drop 73 points, and D-Book dropped 62, I think it was, something like that.
62 and a loss, yeah.
Same thing with
Devin Booker is really good at scoring a bunch of points, but not winning.
That he is. But people are really mad about it. Like Stephen A went on the whatever ESPN show he was on, and he did a rant. He's like, instead of talking about Luka, he was like, this Hawks defense is disgraceful, blah, blah, blah. One day after he did a rant of, this is why Embiid is here. This is why he's great. It's like, brother, are we not doing the same thing? Like, what is happening? And then Nikias Duncan of the Dunker Spot pod, who is fucking awesome, did a breakdown where he literally looked at all of Luka's buckets, and basically he came to the conclusion. He's like, the Hawks tried like 7 different defensive coverages. They threw 2 bodies at him. They played zone. They did all this, blah, 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 blah. Like Luka's just making tough buckets. Like they just literally could do nothing. And Luka shot 25 of 33, shot 76% from the field. And while Sam's talking, these were some of Luka's makes on the night. Like just watch. Like some, obviously not all of them are going to be covered because he's like, I mean, he's Luka for a reason. He'll find ways to get open. But like he's making over the overstretched arm of Clint Capella. Like he's just getting tough buckets, man. Like, I don't know. I think JJ Redick points it out all the time. I think a big part of the scoring in the NBA nowadays is just guys are really fucking good. They're taught to score from
they are good.
12 years old. And so, I don't know.
Also, not for nothing, this was a competitive game. This wasn't like a Mickey Mouse, Devin Booker getting fouled by the Celtics at the end of the game so we can get more points. This is the Hawks were trying to beat the Mavericks. The game went all the way to the final minute, and they couldn't do anything to stop Luka Doncic, so they lost while he had 73 points. These are all crazy, difficult. Look at that. Step back over Sadiq Bey. Decent defense. There's really not a whole lot you can do. And he's so patient with the way he plays, you can't overplay anything or he's going to make you pay for it. Like, look, takes his steps slowly, makes a Kongwu jump past him. He was just on one this day. I don't really think this is – I mean, Atlanta doesn't have the best defensive personnel. They don't have a Kawhi Leonard on the other end looking at Luka. It doesn't mean that the coaching staff and the players that were out on the floor didn't put in the effort to try and stop this from happening. And that one you just saw on the screen was literally him just having fun. Because he had the open fade and he just elected to take an extra step in and shoot a left-handed layup.
Dude, he's so good. Like, by the end of this game, I was watching it. Like, we're watching the clip. For audio listeners, we're watching the clips of him scoring. By the end of the game, they were literally having DeJounte Murray press him full-length court and just not letting him get the ball. And his teammates couldn't do anything. Like, Tim Hardaway Jr. was selling. Josh Green missed an open layup. Grant Williams, offensive foul. Like, they couldn't do anything. And it got to the point where they just had to get Luka the ball, let him figure it out. And I'm sure we'll see it eventually here in the fourth quarter. He dribbled through the entire fucking Hawks defense and got 2 and 1s in the final 2 minutes of the game. Like, they literally had no answers for the guy. Like, there was nothing they could do. He is incredible to watch. And even the Embiid thing, right? Like you're like, oh, 70 points, defense sucks nowadays. No, he's just fucking amazing. And the Spurs have nobody who can stick with him in the post. Like, Wembanyama's great, but he's a twig. Like, Embiid's just bodying him.
Of all of the high-scoring point games to be mad about, the Luka one isn't it. No. If you want to get mad at Embiid shooting a zillion free throws, you can if you want. But even then, it's like a little bit of a stretch.
He earned the free throws.
As far as these guys go, just look at how patient Luka is. And the most interesting part of this one for me, it took the Mavs bench a long time to start getting excited about him making shots. Like, if you like rewind our video, because I'm not going to make Jack pull back the clips, just take a look at Luka like scoring in the first quarter, and he has a zillion points, and nobody's standing up.
It's insane, man. I mean, D-Book had 29 through 1. That was it. He was on a burner in
they
the
must
first
have
quarter.
Won, right?
I want to get to these and ones in the final quarter. We're getting there. Actually, we only have a few left. This Luka performance was fucking incredible. He is so good. I know you're not a big Luka fan. Watching him just pick apart this Hawks team that, like you said, it's not like this was a nothing game. It's a 3-point game in the fourth quarter. Like, they needed all of these Luka buckets. Like, look at this. He's like, see y'all later. They counted that off. I don't know why it's in here. But,
they might have counted it if it's on the website.
But eventually, Luka starts getting the ball. He didn't get a shot for a while here because there only has a few shots left in this game. But he just starts like, what are you supposed to fucking do about that? Look at him. This guy's insane. Right? Like, eventually he just starts getting the ball and just like attacking through like 4 guys. Dude, the way he controls his tempo is insanity. Like, he's just able to get in there and do whatever. That shot was at 10:30 in the game, right? 10:23. He doesn't get a shot for the next 7 minutes because the Hawks do a good job of shutting him out. That's insane.
It's kind of wild. He goes through guys 68 points for like a real long time.
Yeah, dude. He could have gotten 80. Look at this bucket though. Watch this. Watch him just say nobody's here. Slow it down, and they try to just foul him instead of making it terrible defense by Trae Young. Insane make. And then
the one guy in the Luka jersey is having the day of his life in the bottom corner of the screen.
Oh, I need to see it now.
Watch him. Bottom left. Here he comes. There he goes.
Look at him.
Yeah.
This last bucket, though, is the craziest one, I think. Hopefully, I'm not gaslighting you guys. A minute left, 4-point game. Dribbles through two Hawks defenders. Passed another one. Clint Capella's on his knees. And Luka just makes another and one anyways. Insanity. Luka was
It's kind of funny that the Hawks probably refused to foul him. Like, end of game fouling.
He didn't miss a free throw either all night. Like, he was incredible. Anybody saying, like, oh, defense sucks now. Like, bro, they had a hand in his face the whole fucking night. He's just nasty. What are you going to do? Like, what do you want? Anyways, I think it's a lot of players nowadays are just good. And that's what it is. Anyways.
And I think they shoot more threes.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Next thing we got Patrick Beverley, the reporter. Sam, you put this on here. Can you explain it to me?
Yeah, so last week, the Sixers, I think they beat the Magic. Pretty sure they beat the Magic. And Pat Bev has his podcast at Barstool. After the Sixers beat them, Pat Bev apparently planted a reporter at Orlando's post-game press conferences. So this guy, according to Magic beat reporters, had never been spotted at a post-game presser before. And like, Jack, you know this. Like, if you're always at these games and there's someone new there, you're going to notice.
Yeah, it's usually in my experience, it's usually like an AP guy or guy from the opposing like beat, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll figure it out eventually. But yes.
So the reporter asked Wendell Carter about the Sixers and Pat Bev's belt to ass tour. And Wendell Carter was like, we're not really worried about Pat Bev and his 5 points, essentially, is what he said. Now, the Magic beat reporters are none too pleased. Brandon Kravitz said, I recognize every voice that asked questions in Magic post-game pressers. I strongly believe this was a Pat Bev plant. Dylan Bosch followed up saying, hey, it was a plant for sure. I was in the press conference room when that happened, and after the press conference, I went in front of the Sixers locker room to see the players walk out. As I'm waiting to see, I see Pat Bev and the quote-unquote reporter who asked that question greet each other. Then Pat Bev walks out of the locker room. He was wearing black boots, orange and black jeans, and he walks up to the reporter guy who was with 2 girls and tells him, you got it? The reporter says, yeah. Then signals him to follow him to the team bus, and they leave.
That's all time. It's fucking incredible.
Pat Bev is just funny.
And then he shit talked him on the pod, right? Then he got the answer, talked about it on the pod.
Yeah, he like went on the podcast and was like, well, whatever he said. But like he coerced Carter to say this.
That's incredible. That's next level big brain stuff from Pat Bev, and I respect it. I can't lie. I respect the hell out of that. What a guy. Pat Bev, you need to plant at Celtics games. Anyways, last NBA thing we got. Julius Randle is hurt. This was what Sam was alluding to earlier. He separated his shoulder, dislocated his shoulder, and is set to miss several weeks, not months though, which is good per Woj and Shams. Well, shut the
depending
fuck up.
who you ask, what
good for
you're looking at it from.
Good for Randall's health, and he's been very good. No,
maybe
he's
bad
been good.
For the Knicks.
He's been good, and they've been winning a lot of basketball games. You can't like you said, Sam. You don't hit on 21. It's been working for them lately.
You don't hit on 21, but also like you don't expect to win when like you're hitting on 13 and you keep pulling 21s. Sam, that's more of what's been happening.
Last 10 games, 23 points, 8.7 rebounds, 6 assists, 47-38 splits.
Turnovers.
Really good. Really good shooting efficiency. He's playing really well. Really good shooting efficiency. 3.8 a game. But he's shooting very well. He is their primary ball handler. Turnovers have always
been
bad. Randall. I know, but they have been playing very well with him in the lineup, and so it sucks that they're losing him. But it is good that he is going to miss only weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see him like sidelined forever. But
did you see the injury too?
Like, no, I didn't see it.
It was scary.
Pull it up.
Let me see if I can find the video.
Don't pull it up. Nobody wants to watch somebody separate.
It's not like scary, but it's just like he fell very hard. And it's another. You know why I'm gonna pull it up? Because it's a callback to
refs.
Stop the fucking charge. No, this is an example of dangerous charge.
He's gonna hit somebody with a charge down the tunnel.
Look at this. Has already gathered. Jaime Jaquez is still moving.
Yep.
And Julius Randle is forced to like that's such a dangerous play. You shouldn't be able to do that, and he just falls directly on his shoulder. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be in position before the guy gathers. That's a no-no. That's where the charge is a no for me. Anyways, all right, let's get to the rat list here. Wrap up the show so Sam and I can get into the game because we're both heading to the Pels game tonight. Sam, would you like to kick us off with Matt the Rat?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I will once again rat list the fucking temperature in here.
I'm fixing the rat. Don't worry.
Because I cannot wait to go take a shower so my feet are no longer frozen.
Yes.
They have perished. So, yeah. And then I'm going to turn the heat on before I leave, and I'll come back, and it's going to be like 500 degrees up
here. Let's see. Rat list. What did I say I was going to rat list at the start of the show? Dentist. Yes, the dentist. I will say no cavities this time, so I was chilling. However, the dentist today, she's very nice. I'm not gonna complain like about her. It was better than some, but you know that the suction thing they do to like take the water or saliva out of
Yes.
your mouth, so you don't have to open your mouth. She decided today that she was just gonna fucking choke me with it because she just started putting
What do
it
you mean?
instead of on the side, she was putting it down the middle. I'm like, lady, I'm gonna just fucking gag.
I'm not gonna
on
lie to you. I was literally about to say I really wish somebody would like put that further down so it would like get
Dude.
phlegm out of my nose.
No, it was not fun because there was like a bunch of spit down here and I was just gonna swallow it. And I don't have like she almost choked me. I'm like, I'm gonna just like vomit on you if you put it any
That'd be
further down
a
my
way for
throat.
you to die. Imagine how
Like,
mad
what are
I'd be
you
if I
doing?
thought you slept through not only Talking C's but our pod, but you're actually dead.
Oh my god. I was like, what the
Jack is
dude,
choked to death.
it was insane. It was crazy. I just
The
kept
comments are like good.
every
Like
time
it
she went to
finally
do
caught
it,
up to him.
every time she wanted to do it, I was just like closing my mouth. I'm like, stop. Please, dear God, leave me alone. Yeah, it was whack. Anyways, that's the Ratless dentist.
Rat List, the 7 train being shut down in New York City over the weekend. So where I was staying was right by a train station that was the 7 train. And yesterday, my girlfriend and I were trying to leave. We had to get to Grand Central Station to get the train to essentially what you do to go to the Garden, Jack. You go and you drive somewhere, and then you take the train in. So we went, and we were in the pouring rain and the wind, and we walked all the way to the subway station, and it was closed off as they were doing repairs to the 7. So, I mean, a lot of out in the cold for no reason. We ended up just Ubering. Not fun.
Yeah. There you go. Ratless the green line, just because it's a permanent. So after the Celtics game on Saturday, it wrapped super early. Like Sam was shocked too. Jayson Tatum wanted to get out of there after the loss. He came in, sped through the presser and dipped. Pressers were done by like 9:40, which is like unheard of. And it was also 7 p.m. tip, so it was like bumped early because of that too. So it got to the point where I was recording Sam and I texted a buddy of mine, shout out Mike, and I was like, hey, you guys out, come meet you, I'll come hang out, right? Because Saturday I could have just slept at their place, which is, excuse me, I have the hiccups, the place I'm moving to anyways in September, so I would have hung out with them. But the green line's down and they're in Fenway, and so I'm like, fuck, I'll have to Uber. And by the time I was texting Mike when I was about to leave, he stopped responding to me because I mean he's out, he's drunk, he's hanging out, having a good time. And so I'm like, fuck it, I'll just go home. And so I was like, I just had to go home because the green line's fucking down and I couldn't make it over there. However, I did have a positive of the night. The red line conductor on my train home was absolutely fucking electric. Let me find the video. He was on one. Let me see. I'll play the video. I took it and put it on Twitter. I got it. I got him down. I have it up. Here we go. Listen to this red line conductor. This was 12:30, like midnight.
Hey, stop. Okay, you guys don't open on the left change for FBTA. Now stop. Peter Rail service, local bus connection, and on service. The destination of this train is Braintree.
He's just on it.
Good for him. That's great.
Excuse me. The best part, I get a response to that from Taylor Snow, who's a Celtics writer. He goes, knew the voice before turning up the volume. That guy's the best. I've only ever heard it on weekends after midnight. What a vibe. And then I responded, I choose to believe in the lore where he specifically selects these shifts just to fuck with people. And it makes it so much better for me.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Ratless pricing in New York City. I don't know if I came and bitched about the ice cream prices on Saturday night's recording, and I think I might have. And if I didn't, then I'll tell you again. So I went out for ice cream. As Jack was like, yeah, they ran through the press conferences as fast as they possibly could. I was out getting ice cream, so Jack had to wait for me. I felt bad. But we're in the ice cream shop. I get 3 scoops of ice cream. The lady gets 1. I go to pay, and he's like, oh, yeah, your total's $15. I'm like, okay, whatever. He's like, wait, are you paying for both of you? I'm like, yeah. It cost me $25 to get ice cream for the 2 of us. And then the next morning, we go out for, like, coffee in, like, a coffee shop breakfast, not like we're going to get pancakes and eggs and bacon. I spent $40. How is that legal?
Yeah, that's insane.
That was assault. Do you have anything else?
That's great. No, you can keep rocking. I think I'm done.
All right, so I won't be too specific, but I was working this weekend, and what I was doing is I was at a convention. Nobody walks slower than people at a convention. You should be able to bulldoze people, but that's not why I'm here. People at conventions love to get free stuff. And they kept coming over to where my company was set up and asking us for like whatever. Sure. This one guy came over and I recognized him from last year. And he brought his daughter.
Uh-oh.
His daughter had the fucking nerve to ask me if I knew where something that was at our booth was from. Like, because she was going to tell me. And I didn't know. You know why? Because I just work here. And she was like, well, you should know if you got, like, this is, apple doesn't fall far from the tree, like, epitome, dictionary, them two, in the dictionary. Couple of cunts. The guy last year, we had, we were giving away, like, spices.
Sure.
This was the, I don't know if I think I told you about this, but people thought they were getting, like, the greatest thing ever because they could take a little bag of spices. And we got them all from Amazon, but people were like, where are these from? And this guy, and I remembered him, he was like interrogating the person I was working with about where is this from? What's in it? Like, just kept going on and on and on and on and on. And he was back. I couldn't believe it. I recognized somebody. You know how many people I had to see at this thing? I must have seen over like 5,000 people over the weekend, and I remembered him. That's how much of a rat he was.
That's insane. What a guy. It's content though, so shout out that guy for giving us content. Appreciate it. That's all I got.
I wanted to give more details, but I'm not gonna.
All right, we'll wrap it there then. Thank y'all for tuning in to About Them Celtics. We appreciate it very much. Make sure to subscribe. We're almost at 2,100 subs, which is kind of fucking crazy. So we appreciate y'all for that. Make sure to subscribe, help us get there. Leave us a review on Apple and Spotify. 5 stars, follow us. You know the drill by now. Just please, God, you know what? At this point, fucking just leave. If you want to call me Yankee, go ahead. Just leave a review. 5 stars, right? Just come on, help me out. I don't know if we've gotten any new ones since the last time I've begged. But thank y'all anyways. Subscribe. Appreciate it. I'll let Sam wrap it up.
Yes, thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching, make sure. I kind of didn't have a voice when I started that, and I just decided to lean into it. But yeah, thank you. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our daily uploads. We're doing these full pods. We're doing game recaps. We're doing Talking Seas of Bobby. We're doing film breakdowns. We're doing rumor breakdowns. We're doing pregame streams a half hour before each show. Yesterday's was from the Garden. The two of us were there. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple. Just like Jack said, if you leave a 5-star review, we will appreciate it very much. You can reach out to us via email. hbtcpod@gmail.com is the way to do that. We go through emails each pod. You saw that today. You can also find us on socials at How About Them C's. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook is just the name of the podcast. Our pregame streams are there and on YouTube and on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is at JacksMoneyNBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Tic-tac-toe.